Hey there, friends and enemies. JoPa here again, and today I want to do a tier list on which characters I think should be added to Marvel Rivals. This one is pretty long, so it's going to take a bit, and I'm not going to go into crazy detail about all of them, but let's get it started. First off, we have Abomination. This one is solid. I think he could have some different abilities from Hulk while providing a similar playstyle. So I do want him in the game. I do think he would be solid, but I don't know if he's going to be an absolute game changer. Then we have Absorbing Man. This is one that I find very interesting. I'm also going to put in Want because I do think his abilities are good enough to really lend himself to being a good Marvel Rivals character. Plus, we'll get a little bit of shine for him. But ultimately, he's not going to be a character that everyone's super stoked about either. So I want him, but it's not the end of the world if he doesn't get added. Plus, both of these would be Vanguard characters, in my opinion, which we are desperately lacking. Arrow. I don't know a lot about Arrow, but I don't know if she would necessarily be a great fit. I'm going to put her there just because while I know a bit about her, she's not really one of those characters that I'm super stoked about. Then we have Agatha Harkness. No strong feelings for this one. The reason being, I feel like you could add another witch character, but I worry she would be too samey with Scarlet Witch, and so that's really my big downside. Any of these characters who I feel like are essentially clone characters are ones that I'm not really looking forward to adding. Next up, we have Agent 13. I don't think they should add her just because I think her skill set is going to be too similar to other characters we currently have in the game. Agent Coulson would be fun, but that would only be the case if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to be added to another TV show in the MCU or something like that, and without that being the case, I don't think she should be added. Agony. This is one that could be interesting. I'm going to put no strong feelings only because while I think she is a good character overall, I don't know if we should add her separately, especially because we have Venom already. Obviously, I think Carnage would be a better fit, and we also have the team up abilities of the symbiotes, so her unique abilities I don't think would shine as much. Ajax is fine, but I don't know. I don't have strong feelings either way. If they added him, cool. I just don't know if he shines enough to really stand out in a crowd of the characters we already have. America Chavez is one that I think they should definitely add, simply because she has such a unique kit potential that I feel like she would really, really shine. They've also introduced her in the MCU and likely will have her involved in future projects as well, so it would make a lot of sense. Angel, he is one that I think should be added, but I would love to see his Archangel persona, and the reason for that is being able to shoot his steel feathers would be very fascinating. Plus, you could do a whole season around the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse potentially and get their skins in the game. You could get Angel, you could get Apocalypse as well, and I think that would be incredibly fun. Angela, she's one that I've seen people recommend. I think she's fine. I don't really have strong feelings. If they added her, I think she could be cool, but if they didn't, it wouldn't be a big deal. Annihilus. Now, this is one that I think they should add just because he's got such a unique style. They need more villains in the game, and I would definitely like him as an option, but I don't think he would change things as much as some of the others in the game. Anti-Venom. We already have a skin. I don't think they should add it. Doesn't make sense. We have so many other characters to go with first that I would put him pretty low on the list. Ant-Man. Must add. Simply because such an iconic character in the MCU and in Marvel in general, I think it deserves to be in there. Plus, he would have a very interesting kit. You could do a lot of various things for him having essentially a giant mode. You can have his normal size. You can have him go small in order to get out of danger, similar to what we see with Jeff the Landshark getting out, only it's a tiny Ant-Man running around. It could be hilarious. Apocalypse also would be an absolutely must add. I think he would be awesome as a Vanguard, and you could like I said, have a Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse themed either event, season, whatever the case may be, and it would absolutely go absolutely insane. Arana, I'm going to say I don't know enough about her. I think I've heard of her, but I'm not really going to have her added, I don't think. And then we've got the Armor. I think Armor would be a good Vanguard. I don't know if they will go in this direction, but I do think it would be a good option overall, and I feel like that is one that I could definitely see introduced into the game. Zola, I'm 50-50. I'm going to say no strong feelings because while I could see it being the case, I think I'm going to say shouldn't add. I just don't know if this is going to be a fit for the game overall. There are some funny overtones to Marvel Rivals, but just not for me. Atuma, I'm going to say no strong feelings here. The reason being, I think Atuma could be a good character, but I just think there's other better options. And when I'm making this list, there's only so many characters they can add in the foreseeable future, so I don't want to overload must add and want because I feel like there are characters like Atuma who I think could be good, but not as good as some other options we could get. Next up, we're going to get Baron Mordo. This one is interesting because I do want Baron Mordo, especially as a rival to Doctor Strange. You could also make him a Vanguard, but like give him the opposite type of kit from Doctor Strange and be, instead of like a copycat character, be the reverse of that. I think could be very, very good. Baron Zemo, I think I'm going to put in no strong feelings. I think I love that character, but I don't know about his kit for this game, so it's going to drop down just a bit. Beast, I think, is a must. Sorry, I grabbed that one. Beast is a must add. Eventually, especially as we see the X-Men introduced into the MCU, I think his kit would be interesting, how they separate it from Hulk and Venom, as far as a dive tank. I would imagine what that kind of character would be. Beta Ray Bill, I have no strong feelings, and the reason for that, I think this is a good character. I worry about the copycat abilities with Thor already in the game. Bishop is one of my most wanted characters in the entire game. I've mentioned this before, and I feel like Bishop could be absolutely insane, and he could be a Vanguard who absorbs energy and then just dispatches a ton of damage. I definitely think that's a great one. Black Bolt, I want Black Bolt. Now, Black Bolt, again, would have an interesting kit. Same thing with a character like Banshee. I don't know if they would both overlap too much, but I do think Black Bolt could be very, very good with the right setup, and I do think he's a character I would love to see. Again, if we get characters in batches that have similar themes, like we look like we're going to get the Fantastic Four all together, if we got a whole Inhuman season, I think that could be absolutely awesome. Black Cat is one that I like the character. I just don't like the kit for Marvel Rivals, potentially, and so that's why it's going to drop down. There's too many other similar characters in the game that I could see being very, very good. Black Knight, again, similar thing. I think Black Knight's a good character. I think we already have Magic. I think there's other sword characters that I would like to see first, so that's going to drop down just a bit. Black Swan, I don't know a whole lot about, so I'm going to put that there. Blink could be interesting, but I'm going to say shouldn't add for right now because I think there's other characters with what she does that would do it better. Blob, I think, is a want. I do think Blob would be a great tank. Again, you would have to make his kit different from what the tanks we currently have in the game, so that's why it would drop down just a little bit. Blue Marvel, I'm going to say shouldn't have. I think there's going to be other characters that will fill that role. Cable is a want. I would love Cable, but again, with Bishop, I don't want them overlapping too much, so they would have to do things a little bit differently. Kyra, again, I don't know a lot about him. I'm going to put it there. Could put him in don't add as well. Cannonball. I like Cannonball, but I'm going to put him in and shouldn't add just because I don't know if that's a fit overall. Captain Marvel is a must add, and Carnage is a must add. Carnage, they would have to do things very, very different with the kit. I wonder if they would put him into essentially like a duelist role instead of a Vanguard like Venom, but we would have to see. Captain Marvel could do basically anything. They could give her such unique powers. Again, I would prefer her to be a Vanguard, but we'll have to wait and see. Cassandra Nova is interesting. I would rather Professor X, but I do think Cassandra Nova would be a character that could make a lot of sense with her powers. You could do a lot of different things. Colleen, I'm going to put here at shouldn't add. Sorry, where was that? Blue Marvel there. Yeah, I'm going to say don't add as well. Just because again, I think there's other characters that fill the roles of what she would want to do. Copycat, again, shouldn't add because I would prefer Mystique or something like that instead of Copycat. Same thing with Taskmaster. You don't want too many abilities that are essentially copying other characters overall. Corvus Glaive, I'm gonna say no strong feelings personally. Again, if they come up with a unique hit, cool. I think if not, no big deal. We've got Cosmo. I think they could do interesting things with his telepathy and stuff like that. We've got Crossbones. I think while Crossbones would cross over with some other characters, I think I want him in the game ultimately. Then we've got Crystal. Nah, I'm gonna say shouldn't add. Again, too much overlap there for me. Call Obsidian. Either way would be fine. I think that would be a cool character in general, but again, finding places to fit all these characters would be very difficult. Cyclops, obviously must add. One of the most iconic X-Men ever, and I think could be very, very good in the game. Daken, I think, would be very interesting as a character. Daredevil would be very good. Again, the interesting part for like a Daredevil and these types of characters would be separating their kits from others in the game. Darkhawk, I do want. I think he could be very good. Flying characters with wings would be fun. Dazzler, no strong feelings. I think Dazzler would be an interesting character. I would prefer Jubilee personally if we're going to have somewhat similar things, but I think that's where they belong. Deadpool. Now we're getting into more S tier. This is a must add. We already know Deadpool is likely on the way. Some of these characters we know will be arriving in the game, but I just don't. We don't have dates as of yet. Then we've got Death. I'm gonna say shouldn't add. Too powerful. Too difficult with her potential kit. Deathlock. No strong feelings. I think Deathlock could be very, very good, but I don't know if I would want to see them. Debris, I don't know enough about them, so I'm going to put that there. Destroyer, shouldn't add. I think, unfortunately, Destroyer would be a little bit generic. Devil Dinosaur, I'm going to say want. I think that would be incredibly hilarious. And I do want more. I want like a whole menagerie of Cosmo, Devil Dinosaur, Lockjaw, like of all these like creatures who are in the game, and I think could be very, very good. Doc Ock is a must add as a iconic villain from Spider-Man. We've got Domino. I'm going to say want. I think she could be an interesting kit, especially if it's like randomized a little bit. That could be frustrating for some people, but would make sense. Dracula. This is going to be potentially controversial. I'm going to say shouldn't add simply because I feel like the kit's going to be too similar. Like you have Blade being introduced. Dracula, unless they do some kind of crossover when it makes sense. Drax, must add, and then Doctor Doom must add. I think both of them are excellent characters in Marvel. Drax would be harder to make as a kit. Doctor Doom we know is eventually coming to the game as a central point to the storyline of Marvel Rivals, so that's why that's where they are. Then we've got Ebony Maw. I'm gonna put them. I don't care either way, to be honest. Echo. I'm gonna. Controversially shouldn't add. The show didn't do all that great, and I feel like with Daredevil, Elektra, and all these other melee characters, there's going to be too many. I do want Elektra in the game, though. There's going to be too many of those types of characters to add all of them that we would like. If they added Echo, I wouldn't be mad, but I don't see it being a thing. Elektra, we don't have any lightning characters. I'm going to put that as want. I think could be very, very good. Elsa Bloodstone, I'm going to put in shouldn't add, just because while they could be interesting, I just don't know if that would make a lot of sense. Enchantress, I feel like would be a perfect strategist character, so I'm going to put in must add. We don't have enough strategists in the game right now, and I feel like adding more that could potentially fill that role would be very, very good. Firestar, we're getting Human Torch, so I'm going to say shouldn't add. We don't want too much crossover there. Forge, I'm going to say want. Forge could be good, especially with some unique options, especially the team-up abilities. Gambit. This is going to be a must-add here. Gambit is incredible, and with the cards and everything, you could have an incredibly unique kit. Gamora. Now, Gamora is interesting because I do feel like Gamora could be very, very strong. But again, I'm going to put her in want instead of must add, simply because I feel like her kit will be very, very similar, and I don't know. I don't know what you would do with her. Ghost. We already have some, like, we have Psylocke in the game as far as like a hiding character, but I wouldn't mind adding her. Then we've got Ghost Rider. This one is a must add. And one of, I think, if I were to rank the ones that we've seen so far, I think Bishop 1, Ghost Rider, Gambit, and then I'm not counting Deadpool, and then probably Apocalypse here as the ones that I want the most from that list so far. Then we've got Ghost Spider. Shouldn't add too much crossover. Gladiator, no strong feelings. I think could be good, but not really too interesting. Gore the God Butcher, shouldn't add. I think personally. I just don't know. Like, if it makes a lot of sense. Could be interesting, but I just personally don't see it. Green Goblin, that's going to be must add. That's going to be another one that I really, really want in the game and could have a very awesome kit. Spider-Gwen, or Gwenpool, sorry, shouldn't add for me. All these offsuit characters. Havoc, this is one that I definitely want, though, because I do feel like he could be absolutely awesome. Hazmat, I'm going to say shouldn't add. Hit Monkey, no strong feelings. If they add him, skip it. Add him to the menagerie. Add him to the collection of creatures that we got going on there with the want. Then we've got Hope Summers. Maybe should add eventually, but I'm gonna say for now, put in shouldn't add, just because there's a lot more other characters I want to see first. Howard the Duck, right there with the wants. I feel like Howard the Duck is another one of those characters that will really fill in the roles. Like, we have Jeff the Landshark, and they've become super powerful. Hulkling, I'm gonna say shouldn't add at this point. Again, too much crossover there with abilities. Hydra Bob, shouldn't add, even though that would be fun. That would be really funny. Jean Grey, I want Phoenix involved here, whether it is the actual Phoenix or Dark Phoenix, doesn't matter. But I think Jean Grey would be excellent, especially you could use her as a strategist, using her healing abilities with the Phoenix Force. Something like that would be good. Jessica Jones, I do want her. She could be interesting, although, again, crossover powers would be hard. Jubilee, want her as well. I think she could be incredibly fun. Her kit would be very over the top, I think, and so that's why I think she would really shine. Juggernaut, I want him as well. Kang the Conqueror, Killmonger. Killmonger is hard because I feel like his kit, again, crossing over with Black Panther would be tough. Kang, reputation needs to be rehabilitated after the MCU. And then Juggernaut, again, there's a lot of these big, beefy guys that I think could be really good in the Marvel Rivals, but I just don't know how many of them we can add without having too much crossover. Although Kingpin, I think, is a must-add because I feel like he'll be very, very valuable. Kitty Pryde, no strong feelings there personally. I think they could add her; she'd be fine. Claw, I'm gonna say no strong feelings. Not really a big thing. We know Null is on the way, so I'm gonna put it in want. But we know Null is already a character that is likely to be added. Korg, not really a fan of that. Kraven the Hunter, I'm going to say no strong feelings. Lots of crossover with his abilities, but I think he could be good. Lady Deathstroke, I want her, but I'm going to put her... She could be a good tank. Maybe we make her into a tank character, and it could be very, very good. I do not know this character all that well. Lasher, sorry. Leader, I think, could be a good strategist character. I'm going to put that in want. Leech, again, I feel like could be an interesting option with some of the different abilities. Lizard, I want Lizard as well. Probably would be more of a tank character, but again, we'll have to see it. Lockjaw, I'm going to put into must add. I think Lockjaw would be absolutely incredible. Make it tank, make it a support or strategist, doesn't matter. Luke Cage, I think, is a want. I think he would be good. Malekith, I'm gonna put also in want. I feel like, uh, again, rebuilding that reputation after Thor: The Dark World would be nice. Man Thing, I'm gonna say no. Marvel Boy, no. Maximus could be good, but I'm gonna say no strong feelings just because I don't know how their kit would translate. Another Spider-Man, I'm gonna say no. Miles Morales would be dope, but I don't think they want again clone characters. Mirage, I'm gonna say no. Then we've got Mockingbird. No strong feelings. I like the character, but I just don't know if I like the fit. MODOK would be hilarious. I'm gonna put MODOK in want, just because I feel like that would be a very interesting character overall. Mojo, I'm gonna say shouldn't add. It's too weird, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put Mojo and don't add. Morbius, more likely. I'm gonna say want. More likely, especially after the failure of that movie. More likely to add them than Dracula, in my opinion. Morph is fine. I can see him being added. Let's see. Mr. Negative. This is one I really do personally want to see, so I'm gonna put that in want as well. We've kind of fallen off with the must adds though, not as many recently. Mr. Sinister changes that though. I want Minister. He's one of the characters that I want the most in the game because I do want a lot more villains who are awesome, and I feel like Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, Kingpin could be absolutely sick. Multiple Man could be cool. Could be cool. I'm gonna put in two. No, I don't care either way. Mysterio. Again, this is a type of character I think they will add, but I'm not sure. Mystique, I think, is a must add. Um, Overall, I like her. I think her kit could be incredibly interesting. She would probably be very similar to Echo, only ground based in Overwatch. Nico, I'm gonna put don't add. Nightcrawler. That's another one that I think really would do wonders. We already have like kind of teleportation in the game, but a whole kit based around it would be awesome. Then we've got Nimrod. I'm gonna say do not add. Nova. I'm actually no strong feelings on Nova. I think they could be good, but I feel like I'm not 100% sold. Whereas I do want Omega Red. I think Omega Red could be excellent, so I'm gonna put it in the want. Patriot, I'm going to say shouldn't add. Again, too similar to one Captain America. Polaris, I think could be good, but I'm going to do neutral for that one. Quake. Quake, I do want in the game. I feel like we don't have any like earth-shaking abilities, so that's why it's going to be there. Quicksilver. This is going to be possibly unpopular. Don't add. And the reason being, I don't want any speedsters in the game. I feel like they could be absolutely broken. Rogue, I feel like, is a must add. Now, she is one that, again, could be broken depending on how her siphon skills work, but you gotta add her eventually, I think. Sabretooth is a want. I think while I see him being added, I don't know if he's high on the list overall. Then we've got Sasquatch, again, too similar. Sauron, I don't really care either way. Could be cool, could be not really cool. I don't know. Scream. Shouldn't add. We don't need all the symbiotes in the game. Sebastian Shaw, not really press either way. Sentry, I'm gonna say want. I think Sentry could be very, very good, but you just again like Captain Marvel, her powers would be a little bit more limited. Shang-Chi, the problem with this is with Iron Fist already in the game, you would have to do his abilities completely different. But I do want him to be in the game, especially if we get another movie. She-Hulk, same problem. I'm going to put that one, though, in the no strong feelings because of that. Silk, I'm going to say shouldn't add. Too similar. Silver Sable, I'm going to go there. Silver Samurai, I'm going to go there. Again, some of these are tough because I do like the characters. Silver Surfer, I think eventually is going to be a must add. I'm going to put want for right now. I don't know if they're one that I would think should be added immediately, but I do think eventually should see Silver Surfer in the game. Scar, not really impressed about that one. Then we've got Spectrum. I don't know enough about him, to be honest. Spider, so essentially Spider Pig. I'm gonna say shouldn't add. Spider Pig is funny. Same thing with Spider-Woman. Too many of these are too crossover and would be funny, but stature, I could see. I say here just because if we don't get Ant-Man, that's where that would go. I don't know this character at all. Strong guy, I'm going to put, shouldn't add, kind of too goofy there. Strife, I'm going to put in, I don't care either way. Sunspot I do want. I do think Sunspot could be very, very good. But again, depends on how they handle his powers and everything like that. Super Skrull. I'm going to put Super Skrull into No Strong Feelings. I think could be incredibly fun, incredibly useful, but I don't know about that kid overall. Swarm, I'm going to put, shouldn't add. Taskmaster, I'm going to put Taskmaster into Want, just because I feel like they are a character we will likely see. They're going to be in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie, and it just makes a lot of sense. Viper, I've talked about this character before. I actually think as a poisoner strategist kind of character could be incredibly good. I'm going to put in must add, which is kind of crazy for a character who's not really as well known. War Machine, shouldn't add, unpopular opinion, too similar. We've got Wasp. I think Wasp would go into a want. I think could be good. Again, depends on what happens with Ant-Man as well. Werewolf, I'm going to go with don't care either way. White Queen, a.k.a. Emma Frost. This is another that I feel like could really shine and be very, very good. So I'm going to put in a must add. Again, probably we get a lot of female strategists, so I don't know if that would be the case. White Tiger, shouldn't add for me. Wolfsbane, probably shouldn't add for me. Wong would be cool, but I don't care either way. I do like him. X-23, don't care either way. Again, this one where I like the kit, I like the character, but I don't know if the kit would make sense in comparison. Same thing with Yellow Jacket. And then Zero, I am unfamiliar with. So that's going to be my list. I do think that a lot of these characters would be sick. The must-adds at the top, I think would be absolutely awesome. And everything from must-add to want, I feel like all of them we will likely see in the game at some point, if it lasts for that long, and then we'll probably see some from the No Strong Feelings list. I don't think we'll see most of the characters from the shouldn't add, and maybe some of the don't know ones surprise me. I didn't know anything about Luna Snow before Marvel Rivals dropped, so I'm glad that I got introduced to new characters as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I got right, wrong, and all that kind of good stuff. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.